We stopped. We have separate presentation. It's done. We need to rush.
That's true. Well, you can make that up. You can say that no one's going to question it. Like, did you really get it at a conference though? That's the real secret is that I actually got it online.
I think I got it on 9K software.
No, I would never like think to do this sort of like the least to create that person. So I was with Nathan and just explain it. Is anyone here from SHSM Earth? Sick.
Okay, so we're going to call it Coco.
Yeah, so Coco will go first. Do all the teams in the audience see there? Is this hard to see? Is this like legible at all for you guys? No? Okay, I'm gonna read through the like lineup right now as it stands. The way we're gonna do this is, we'll call out for the next team to come up. If there isn't a representative, there are two teams that are subbing in. Otherwise, we'll just skip to the next one. So we appreciate you guys being patient and sticking it through. We have first SHSM Earth, second Windsor, third Leah Bear, fourth UN Chem, fifth Soylent Green, sixth Nemo Robocrop, seventh Tigris, eighth Blue Water Smart Tap, ninth Physics, 10th Ultrasonic Buoy, 11th Water Purist, 12th UN Team, 13th Blue Lion Labs. Anyone not have their team name on this list? You guys, right. You are the other team that's getting subbed in. So we've got two teams that we had confusions in the registration. So, maybe we should, well, we can just put Coco up now, right?
The two of the three teams that were listed first are from Windsor. It's one of the reasons that our fifth judge is not yet here. So we're still, I thought we were
Oh, really? Okay, so you guys will just go second. Is that cool? Awesome. Thanks for being patient with the delays, everyone, and the little switches around in the schedule.
So thanks for being here. Paul Reiser is out of town. How many of you, is this your first Erie Hack event? Okay, your first time competing. All right. Have you been to any of the previous hacking events on other days? Some of you have, but a lot of you have not. Okay, so welcome. I think I'm
their tireless efforts as on-the-ground organizers. So we coordinated at the regional level, but this project really wouldn't be possible without the work of folks like Laura, folks like Paul, folks like Sahar, that have been doing the work with all of you guys, helping you build your teams, build your pitches, etc. So thank you to those folks. Of course, I'd also like to thank the Fred A. and Barbara M. Urban Family Foundation, as well as ECT, Pure Oakland Water, and P3 Great Lakes for sponsoring the event here in Detroit and Windsor. And we're really honored to be a part of this incredible community of innovators. It's been an excellent experience to get to work with all the teams, and we're really excited for Cleveland Water Lines to get to sit in on the pitches that you all will deliver today. This year's Erie Hack is really timely for us. For those, you are all based up here, so this might not be as familiar for you, but this year is the 50th anniversary of the last time the Cuyahoga River burned. This is the river that runs through Cleveland. A long time ago, it was extremely polluted from industrial processes and actually caught on fire. It's the event that some people consider, the thing that sparked the environmental revolution in the United States, the creation of the EPA, the creation of the Clean Water Act, the first, real environmental legislation we had at the federal level. And so this year is really an exciting year to look at, all that's happened since that historic event. And for us at Cleveland Water Alliance, that's really about looking at the Lake Erie Basin in all the communities that sit on its shores, and looking at all the innovations that we're developing to help continue to improve our water quality and also leverage the great water resources that we have in this region to drive ourselves forward from an economic, social, and environmental perspective. So thank you all for participating, and I hope that you realize that you're part of something that's a lot bigger than any of us. It's a movement that really will accelerate our region into the future. We're going to be getting started shortly as soon as our fourth judge arrives. Are there any questions about the process, I guess, that we're going to go through today? At very brief, each of the teams will pitch. The judges are going to record their thoughts. At the end, I'll take the judges into a deliberation room where they'll use their scores and notes as a jumping off point to determine which teams move forward to the semifinal pitching contest, which is the next round of the competition. That'll take place also here in Detroit, but at the Cobo Center on June 5th. So if you're selected to move forward, that'll be your next big pitching opportunity. If your team isn't selected to move forward, we highly encourage you to reach out both to us at Cleveland Water Alliance, as well as to Paul at Techtown and Laura at Wayne State. We're really interested in continuing to collaborate with any teams that are interested in moving their projects forward. So if you don't move forward, please don't be discouraged. If you're really passionate about what you're doing, we hope that you'll come back to us and allow us to help you move your project forward. Any questions about today's process? We have like a little bit of time to kill. Everyone's super comfortable, super jazzed, ready to go? Awesome. Well, I guess, I don't know, we have what, a few minutes until he rolls in? Just hang out for a second. Yeah, go for it.
Do we have a monitor there where we can see our presentation?
Yeah, there's a computer right here. Yeah, and all your slides should be loaded up here. So when you're ready to go, Laura will help get your slides up. I can explain also the timing process. The way that we do this is, so you have 5 minutes to pitch, and we're pretty strict on that time. When you start your pitch, I'll give you like a countdown, 3, 2, 1, and I'm actually gonna start in the corner up there on the stairs, and as the time trickles out, I'm gonna walk down the stairs towards you, and by the time I hit that last step, that's your cue to be done. And if you don't stop, I'm gonna come and have you stop. We'll have 3 minutes for question and answer from the judges. For teams, it's really optimal if you try and keep your responses to each question succinct and short so that the judges can ask more questions. We're also very strict with that 3 minutes, so judges, we will cut you off as well, just to make sure that we have time to keep rolling. There'll be a few, a minute or two in between presentations for the judges to finalize their notes, as well as for the next team to come up. So please be sure that you're in the space and accessible when we're nearing your slot, so we don't have to come looking for you, because we probably won't, and we'll just move on. If you do miss your mark, we may be able to find time later. Any other questions about the process? It's very unusual that we have so much time to just kind of banter, yeah.
How many teams are moving on?
How many teams are moving on? That is yet to be determined, between 5 and 6 likely. But that's determined by the judging panel at the time of deliberation. That's a great question. Any other questions? Yeah, sorry.
How many judges are there? And how many judges are there?
4 judges. Yep. So, yeah, actually, maybe judges, could you introduce yourselves? You have a microphone as well, so that could be a really fun way to get things started. Sure.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Artap-Palermo, and my background is an aquatic biologist. I am currently the head of the Freshwater Forum at Cranbrook Institute of Science, which is a natural history and science museum in northern Oakland County. I do a lot of advocacy, outreach, and education, and I think that's about it.
Hi everybody, I'm Liberita Chakala with OHM Advisors. I'm a project manager and shareholder. It's a community advancement firm, consulting engineers. I focus on water and wastewater infrastructure, focusing on the design and construction.
Hello, my name is Patrick Dorn. I work with Nature Conservancy, which is a global land and water conservation organization. I work here in Michigan, overseeing all of our conservation operations, everything from clean water to fisheries, to forestry, to agriculture, and natural areas management. Thank you.
Fantastic, thanks guys. And our last judge is Raj on the International Joint Commission, which is the collaboration between U.S. federal EPA and Environment and Climate Change Canada, focused on maintaining the quality of our Great Lakes. So he'll be joining us shortly.
My name is Rahul Mitra. I was supposed to do this during the break time when the judges were deliberating, but I'm just going to go right ahead right now because I guess we're waiting. So I'm excited to be here. Like I said, my name is Rahul Mitra. I'm a professor at Wayne State University. I'm in the Department of Communication. And I was very excited to actually serve as one of the mentors for Erie Hack as well in the water justice and the water equality challenge particularly. And so I want to take this time a little bit to just talk to you a little bit about a project that we have going underway right now called Detroit Water Stories, because it could really benefit from your perspectives, and I basically want to invite your participation in this project. So basically, water security, and you can find out more about our project through this website, DetroitWaterStories.wordpress.com. Essentially, this website is a place where we are sharing our work, as well as updates and blog posts, as well as different work products coming from the project. So, when we talk to people about water security, generally we get a lot of question marks at first, and then we sort of ask people to think a little bit about how water affects them. And when they do, they really come up with a whole long laundry list of issues, whether it's water affordability, whether it's contamination fears, whether it's flooding, or simply water main breaks, infrastructure failures, health advisories, and whatnot. And all of this really comes together under the heading of water security, which is really what you guys are all in this room as well, because you're addressing water security in different capacities, primarily from a tech perspective. The problem, however, as we are discovering, as I'm sure you're also discovering as well, is that often when people think about these different issues related to water security, they're not necessarily making connections across them. They're not necessarily realizing, first of all, that failures, such failures are incredibly common. So it's not something that's affecting other people, it's affecting themselves in lots of ways. That they're connected. There's a lot of information out there which often gets overly confusing. And finally, what we're calling the last C, I guess, the last C problem, is that when we talk about water security, we often tend to prioritize personal responsibility, and there's often a lack of compassion for people who are affected by it, because we don't see ourselves connected to the broader problems at stake. So our project basically tries to address these problems around water security, especially in the Detroit context, through basically through 5 interconnected processes. We begin with really focusing on community resources. So we've been engaging different community organizers on the ground, health professionals, practitioners, groups like Erie, for instance, just to find out really a little bit more about the different ways that water affects various communities, as well as how communities are organizing and mobilizing around them. When I say communities, I mean both neighborhood communities as well as professional communities like yourselves. Our goal in this project is the second point, which is the real stories part, because we think there's a lot of value in highlighting and sharing these real stories of people who are impacted by water insecurity, beyond what you just see in maybe the next big headline in the news article or news at 9 or something like that. And so we're basically interviewing community members as well as practitioners and professionals who are working to address water security. And so I would love to actually have you guys participate in our research project as well, where we would ask you about the kind of work you're doing, why you think it aligns with water security problems, how you think you will want to address this issue, especially in the urban context. And we see a great value in connecting your perspectives with the perspectives of community members who are really going through this on a day-to-day basis. The other part of our project is creating bits that are relatable and shareable. So we are basically creating webisodes based on our project and our fieldwork. The goal is to share this through our website as well as through YouTube. We are inviting our community members and participants to write blog posts along with us, again, where the idea is to sort of disrupt the confusion around water security and get more of a community movement going around what the issues really are. Which leads me to continuous updates, because the blog is one major way that we are essentially sharing information about the project to our various partners and participants, also social media and Twitter. And finally, mutual learning, because if you've been in the Detroit area, you know that there's unfortunately a lot of insularity around, not just between city and some suburbs, but also between city neighborhoods and between professional associations and professionals of various have put up various silos. And so part of what our goal is really to encourage this learning really going on across these silos to disrupt, I guess, the broader conversations. So our overall goal is to really help build meaningful and incredible water security policy, and we're essentially guided by these 3 mantras of, listening to people, what people have to say, amplifying their perspectives and those ideas, because, we're not quite so condescending as to say, we're going to come in and tell you what to do. We want to hear great ideas that you have on the ground and essentially amplify those ideas and those policies. And then finally collaborate, where we are collaborating with various organizations and partners in order to implement their vision over here. So essentially we're reaching out, like I said, to a lot of different community members. We've reached out to groups like We the People of Detroit and People's Water Board on the ground, but also of course Erie Hack as well, Authority Health, Population Health, just a couple of examples, the Sierra Club. And so essentially we invite your participation in this as well. Please get in touch with me. The website I mentioned up there is probably the easiest way to get in touch with me if you are interested in participating in the project, or you can think of other people who would be interested in sharing their views as well. My email address is rahul.mitra@wayne.edu. And yeah, so thank you so much, and best of luck to all the teams. Does anyone have questions? I guess, do we have time for questions? Well, no one's saying no, so does anyone? Yeah, that's true. So, does anyone have questions or comments? Yeah. The project is what? Oh, the projector is shaking. Oh, okay. Not quite a question, but important, nevertheless. Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Is there a what? Well, over 18. Over 18 is the age limit, but you can go, yeah. So we're particularly interested in, as far as community members are concerned, we're particularly interested in seniors and youth and caregivers, because those segments tend to get marginalized most often, but really across professional groups. So we're talking with engineers, consultants, healthcare practitioners, policymakers, people on the law side, so really across the board. Max, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So if you do have questions, please get in touch with me. The website is there as well. My email address is up there. I have a couple of sign-in sheets as well with me. So yeah, I'll be around. So thank you so much. And again, best of luck.